Scary story time. This story is called Ghost Story in China, written by Zhao88. This is my first story, and let me tell you about me. I'm an Indonesian who has been living in China for 4 years, and when I came on March 2009, I stayed at the dormitory by foreign students at Capital Normal University of Beijing. Now, this dormitory, even though it was very good, clean, modern, etc., it also kept many ghosts roaming in its rooms and corridors. I've had several experiences there. Now, to explain to you my ability, when I first came, I could only sense spirits, but I couldn't always see them. Only when I was sick or hadn't slept for days. My senses was getting sharper. When I came home to Indonesia on February 2010, my oldest brother, not really siblings, sort of sworn brother of mine, who worked as a dukun, Indonesian term for medium, shaman, something like that, opened my third eye, and since then I could see spirits more clearly, though not so much since he opened it without my permission, and I never trained the ability. It tends to close over time. Next to the story. The first semester in 2009, I settled on the 7th floor, and this dormitory ever floor is shaped like a long corridor with 2 elevators, 1 kitchen and 1 laundry room in every floor. The ends of the corridor each had a big window. My room, unfortunately, was situated right opposite of the laundry room. Now, this room always gave off bad vibes to those unlucky fellows who weren't accustomed to washing clothes by hand or too lazy to do it and preferred of using the washing machines. Very often at night, I and one roommate hear the banging sound of the doors in front of our door, and when we peeked from the peeping hole, we saw no one. The door to the laundry room was a double door that could never be tightly shut. When we closed it, it was swayed a few times before it closed. Now, imagine our surprise when we heard such a sound, waited for hours, and nobody actually came out of the room. Once we pulled up our courage and actually went to see inside the room, but there was nothing. The windows weren't open either. The machines were empty. Nobody was using them. We started to freak out and avoid using the laundry at night. Once, my friend changed her bed position to facing the window. Since then, our bathroom door often opened and closed by itself, and sometimes at night, when we were both already in bed, we heard the sound of water running and splashing. But when we moved, the sound vanished. It only happened again when we laid back our heads on the pillows. Later, we found out what the cause was. It was because my friend's bed, and we were told that the bed facing the window was a taboo. My friend changed it back, and nobody bothered us anymore. The 8th floor also had several ghosts lurking. The elevator near the laundry room and the 8th floor often played us as it liked. We got inside, pushed the floor button, and the door closed. Then it opened again. We hit the button again, and the cycle repeated. It happened several times until one of us noticed that every time we hit the floor button and the door closed, the floor button, we hit it would cancel on its own, like somebody invisible was clicking it. You know, some elevators can cancel their buttons by clicking it twice. And we were forced to run out of the elevator as soon as our feet could carry us. 2 of my friends were sharing one room in the 8th floor, room 801. Once, they went on a vacation trip with several friends. My friend, let's call her Maggie, it's close to her real name, used to get online with her MSN Messenger every night on her laptop. She used a Nokia handphone. This was the time when iPhone and BlackBerry weren't popular in Indonesia. That couldn't connect to the internet. But every night we get online, and exactly at 10 p.m. on her MSN got online. One of my friends even tried calling her, asking her if she already got home. Since that time, we didn't know anything and how the vacation went. Only one answer: tired. My friend asked more, but no answer came through. And at 12 p.m., it went offline. The next day, it repeated for 7 consecutive nights, until Maggie herself came home. When she told us, she turned her laptop off and put it inside her drawer and locked both the drawer and the door already. When she got back home, the laptop was still safe and sound inside her drawer with no sign of use. Until now, we still didn't figure out how the ghost in her room gained the access to her MSN. At the 5th floor, I had a close friend who stayed at 514. His next door, 515, also inhabited by 2 Indonesians, also our friends. The guy at 515 told us that one night he often heard a voice of a girl singing, sadly. The voice was half singing and half moaning, and she was singing in a Chinese old song, and the voice was so sad it creeped my friend out of his wits. Whenever the song began, His roommate also confirmed the story, and apparently he was able to hear the voice also. When we casually inquired the cleaning girl about whom my friend befriended, she was quite beautiful. She told us that room 514 was haunted by a girl who was committing suicide from the window, and that she stayed under my friend's desk. What made us wonder was, why was her voice the only thing we heard next door? At the 6th floor, I had a friend who lived at 601, and it was a room at the end of the corridor, just next to the big window. Once I stood there talking with some friends when suddenly a gust of cold wind blew between us. And mind you, the window was closed. And I felt like something touched me. It felt like somebody breezed by, and the swaying of their clothes touched my skin. Apparently, my friends felt that too. One of them could see that these things clearly, and she told us that a girl in white had just walked through us. We already heard the story about a girl who committed suicide again from the window because she had an abortion and was regretting it, but we still wondered whether or not it was her. Again, at the 8th floor, this happened just last semester and around 2012 of summer, when I no longer lived there, but still had some friends who did. I once rode the elevator onto the 8th floor, not the haunted one, and for some reason it smelled like funeral home. Luckily, I had a friend with me, so it didn't really freak me out. The corridor was empty, though usually lots of people were opening their doors so other friends could come and visit without having to knock. And other crowds were gathering at some doors. I knocked on my friend's door, but he wasn't there. Though usually he's always studying in his room at that hour. We called him and he said that he was downstairs at a friend's room. We descended the stairs and asked him why he moved there, and he said that a guy had just died upstairs, and apparently from drinking beer too much. He saw the body being attended to some hospital workers covered by white sheets, and at that moment, I really freaked out. Especially remembering that the funeral home smell in the elevator when actually no funeral flowers were brought into the elevator. And this incident happened every 2 days before. And the body was carried into that very elevator I rode. And the stories don't stop there. So if you guys want to hear another story, go ahead and hit that like button for another story to be continued.